Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Sleep In Saturday. It's a day we take Q&As, questions. We try our best to give some answers according to the parampara, the disciplic succession. That's how you study this stuff. You hear it from your teacher, who hears it from his teacher, hears it from their teacher. Now, you guys might argue that parampara, that sounds a lot like the telephone game that we used to play as a kid. Like you say, she sells seashells by the seashore, pass it on. And by the time it comes back in the full circle, it's like mares eat oats and does eat frogs. Yeah. No, it's different. Because when you pass it on, there's certain parameters within, you have to stay in your lane of what you say. You just can't fabricate stuff. It's got to be according to guru, what your teacher says, what the sadhus, the previous masters say, and what the sacred literature says. But that's how we receive information. It's not just some random cult of personality. You got to be careful for that because things can get really misconstrued. Even within parampara, there's a lot of room for people making up their own stuff.
Well, isn't it outside of parampara once they start making up their own stuff?
No, I don't know. I mean, we have parampara, but we see people go off on a tangent.
All right. I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone go off on a tangent, ever. Not even on this podcast. It never happens.
Hey, Kastuba, welcome to the show. Here with Kastuba. Oh, Tarun's awake. Hello, Tarun. Here live with Catherine A. and Miss Mara. And today we're going to do Q&As. I really slept in. Sleeping Saturday. I slept for 9 hours. I never sleep that much. And I needed the sleep. I'm trying to get rid of this cold. It's not an incredibly painful cold like you had, I think. You had a fever. It's just a long, drawn-out, congestion-y chest cold.
Are you eating properly?
Are you kidding? I got Miss Mara, the
but I don't
number one chef of Columbia County.
I mean eating food suitable for your condition.
Yes, are you kidding? She's researching stuff before she whips it out.
Okay, well then here's the next question. Are you eating stuff besides the stuff that Mara's preparing for you?
I'm not. Right. You know, sometimes people just get sick. It's a way of cleansing your body of excess mucus and bile and air. Right, Mara?
Sure. Yeah, let's enough of your body, Raghunath. Let's move this on.
Let's talk about my bile, air, and phlegm. Okay, so anyway, Miss Mara, what's going on? Any announcements before we dive into the questions?
Yeah, tomorrow, our friend Anu is offering a postural yoga class at 10 a.m. for Patreon members. Okay. And we have bhakti recovery group meetings at 9:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. and 12:30 today.
All right. People love Anu.
Yeah. Are we going to have a show tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, we're not ready for that, are
we? Yeah, I don't think we have a show tomorrow.
Not anything prepared.
Sorry.
Well, good. It's going to be a nice day. We can do some.
Okay, one day, and then we're going to really plug in after that. We're going to start going solid. All right, no show tomorrow.
Okay, no show tomorrow. Sorry, guys. I know we're just sort of getting back in the groove. Kastuba needs a break. Okay, let's continue on. Facebook people, welcome. This is the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We do it every day. You can find us everywhere you get podcasts and YouTube. And we go through the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Guess what I went through yesterday? We read more of that Mahabharata that's not released yet. And it is so wonderful.
Having a good time with that?
Yeah, I actually talked to...
Did you get to that mind-blowing point?
Oh, yeah. It was all mind-blowing. But let me tell you this. I talked to Nanda Maharaj yesterday on the phone.
Oh, you did? Okay. He heard the show.
We texted. Oh, did he? Okay, good.
So you didn't talk on
He's
the
totally... Well, we texted.
It's
and he's... I love him. He's sweet. And he definitely wants to be on the show. We're just trying to figure out a date. Okay. All right.
Did you get to the part where it gets revealed who is going to give birth to the avatar?
No.
I said, well, that's the mind blower part. Okay, we'll hold on that.
I go very slowly, take it all in. I'm getting my mind blown like every sentence. You're skipping over very mind blowing parts, Kostuba. Don't jump ahead.
I see. Now there you go again. There you go again.
Okay.
Slow down, Robert. Slow down. All right, let's get into it. Questions.
Come on, before I cough my head off, Miss Mara. Where's our questions?
I just put them up there.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Here's our first question, and she's not live on Zoom today. Oh my God, that's a Krishna miracle. Michelle A. from Nashville. She says, "Good morning. Thank you all so much for the work that you do. I continue to be grateful and to be a part of this community."
To be part of this community.
She's good. Yeah, she's grateful. And she is a big part of this community. We love Michelle. I have a question about other people.
Other people.
Not others. Other people.
Okay.
Not part of our community.
Is that
I know that everyone, including myself, is a spirit soul. Okay, I get that. But, however, I really struggle in certain interactions with people who seem to be completely asleep. Right? Spiritually asleep, I think she means.
Okay.
They are unkind to others, constantly cause suffering and harm in the world, and have no idea what they're doing. Right? Pavritam cha, nivritam cha.
They don't know what to do, what not to do.
They don't know what to do. The Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter says, the demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. They are unkind. How do we, avoiding taking on arrogance and judgment, be in a world with people who constantly are unkind, rude, and generally unaware of the way their actions affect others? The world tells us to draw boundaries, speak up for ourselves, and be an advocate. But sometimes this seems like a lot of work for something that really isn't our goal anyway, right? Do our paths here also ever have moments where we are intended to support someone else on their journey? Or are we focused more on our own path and the path of the devotees around us? I like that. It's a good question, huh?
Yeah.
It's a common question as people start to change their life. Whatever it is. So you can be a vegetarian or a vegan, or you go sober. Once we give up some type of lifestyle that we know has been harming us, and we enter into a new lifestyle, then all of a sudden we see that harmful habit that we used to have just a moment ago, right? We see it in so many other people. And this person is a little self-aware. They're realizing, like, I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to be rude. But now I'm seeing this everywhere. You know what? I use this analogy like the burning house. You know, you see some people are dying in a burning house, but you can't really fully go into that burning house and save people unless you're protected. You need your proper fire suit, fire helmet, fire axe, oxygen mask. And then you have the ability to go in there and like extend your hand and bring people out. Sometimes we, in the name of trying to change the world, we ourselves become hateful and angry and vicious and more divisive. And in the name of being kind, we become very unkind. So that's a very, very careful thing. And I'd say that the emphasis is on our personal change. That being said, we have a whole philosophy that exist in extending hands and extending love and extending outreach to people while maintaining our personal container of our own spiritual life. And in that sense, it's not spiritually bypassing, not by a long shot. A big part of our healing is to reach out and extend our love and hands. But you got to be careful, because it's really easy to just get angry and hate the hateful. And then I've been tricked into being hateful. And I see it all the time. It happens with that judgment and arrogance pops up. So it sounds like Michelle is going through this very, very normal process of self-realization, which is you start to realize, oh, I've got deeper issues than I thought. First, I thought I'm not saying she was into alcohol, but maybe she was, suppose she was into alcohol. First, I thought the alcohol was the issue. And then I'm realizing it might be something deeper than that. There's a bunch of judgment on top of that. Maybe I'm a very judgmental person. So I think what happens is sometimes in bhakti, we're asked to cut off the gross stuff that can really hijack our free will and our freedom and our joy. And then once that's gone, then there's all this subtle stuff is going to manifest. And if you're sincere, all these questions will arise. What do you have to say, Kostuba?
Well, I think we need to answer the question.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, I know that sounds like a crazy thing to do on a Q&A show. No, I appreciated everything you're saying for sure. But well, here is the question, right? Do our paths here have moments where we are intended to support someone else on their journey, or are we focused more on our own path than the path of the devotees around us? But everything you're saying was very relevant to this, and I appreciate this question. You said something about the issue, and it really it was a little. We had a little connection there, Raghunath.
You and I had a connection.
We had a connection.
E.T., come home.
Because you said, like, well, I thought the issue was this, but maybe the issue was that. Maybe there was something deeper. And when I read this question, I thought of the nugget that I wanted to bring up for the next time we have a nugget. But I'm going to break out that nugget right now.
Break out the nugget.
This nugget is its origin. I couldn't find an actual person, but apparently it comes, the group that it came from, I was able to narrow down. And that group was the SDS. You familiar with that? Not SSD.
Yeah.
The
SDS. They were like a political movement in the 60s, I think.
Students for a Democratic Society. Yeah.
Yeah, I was right. Did you know that? Oh, you did. Okay.
But someone from that SDS, they came up with this saying. Here it is. And think about this, Raghunath. I think you might like it. The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution. You catch that?
No.
Okay, I'll do it again. The issue is never the issue.
The issue was never the issue.
The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution. In other words, think of it like this. If it was from the SDS's point of view, right, there could be so many issues. They want a revolution? Well, hear me out. If you want, don't just throw things out as they enter your mind, but do try to hear me out. Then we can address those.
Oh my God, Kostuba, you're not gonna believe this. Here we go. Pause. Squirrel time. I took a nap yesterday. And
back to your body? Are we going back to your body again?
No, I took a nap yesterday for 15 minutes. And I had a dream we were doing the podcast, and I said a joke that made me laugh so hard I woke up. I was sleeping. In my dream, I was laughing at something we were saying in the podcast. I can't remember what it was, but it was so funny. It woke me up. I woke up laughing. Is that crazy?
You have to go back and find what it was.
I know. I have to get a hypnotherapist. Okay, go on.
Okay, so yeah, there could be so many issues, right? The issue could be the Vietnam War. The issue could be conditions in different communities. There could be so many issues.
Yeah.
But the way that I understand that point is that issue is never the issue. Excuse me. That issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution, because it's only the revolutions that's going to solve all of the issues, right? It's only when the government would be completely overturned that you would have that you could fully address all these issues, get to the root of them, overturn them all. Otherwise, you work on one issue and another issue is just as bad coming up.
So Stuba, on Marxism. Go ahead. Tell us your theories. Let me
so
subscribe to your newsletter.
So here, I think this should become a postulate, Raghunath, for Wisdom of the Sages.
Okay.
The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution in consciousness.
Oh, I get it. In consciousness. Okay, I can do that.
Okay. The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution in consciousness. So let's take that to Michelle's question. And the reason why I bring this up is because, Michelle, both of these paths are noble. And either of these paths may be the right path at any given moment or for any given person under any different circumstances. What I don't appreciate is people, social justice warriors.
I don't appreciate people either.
Social justice warriors who will step forward and condemn a sincerely practicing spiritual person who's lived in this world, seen the pain, seen the crime, and said, you know what, I need to root this out of myself deeply before I just start mouthing off on my Instagram page or whatever. I need to address these issues in me. I admire that person that does that. And I also admire the person that rolls up their sleeves and says, let me get into the middle of this and see if there's some way I can serve and help others too. These are both noble, admirable approaches in life. And who is anyone to criticize someone that does that? So now, again, Michelle is going through the world. She's tuned in to a deeper type of sensitivity, and she's living in a world with people who aren't, and it's hard to endure. It leaves one even confused. Am I meant to step up and be an advocate right now? Am I meant to, I like the way she phrased it. Sometimes it seems like a lot of work for something that really isn't our goal anyway. What is our goal? Our goal is the revolution in consciousness. Our goal is the revolution in our own consciousness, and our goal is the revolution in the consciousness of others, that we all uplift one another, that we all have a revolution in consciousness. So, Michelle, let's further try to apply this postulate. You go to work, or you go down the street, or you go shopping, whatever, and you're dealing with the kind of people that you're dealing with. Try in that moment when that disappointment or that aversion towards these people arises in you, at that point, remember, the issue is never the issue, right? This issue right here, how I'm being treated, that's not the issue. The issue is the revolution in consciousness. This person needs a revolution in consciousness. We as a community need a revolution in consciousness. I as an individual need a revolution in consciousness. The reason why this person is behaving the way they're behaving right now is because they have not yet experienced the revolution in consciousness, right? The reason that I'm unable to deal with this, or I'm so averse to it, is because I have not yet experienced the revolution in consciousness. Right now, how to best address it? It may be to step forward and speak up. It may be to retreat and do one's own internal work. These are both valid ways to approach it. But we're always moving and working and fighting for the revolution.
Sounds like you dramatically. Sounds like you practiced that like in front of the mirror.
I didn't, Raghunath, believe me.
Fighting for the revolution
in consciousness.
Very good. So,
yeah, you like that?
Academy Award for that. Yeah, it was good.
Do you like that postulate?
I did.
Okay.
It's always a revolution in consciousness.
The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution. I think that could be a Wisdom of the Sages t-shirt. In consciousness.
We need new t-shirts in 2024. That's what we need.
All right.
That's
That's the issue.
That's the issue. There's not enough T-shirts and mugs out there. Okay. My daughter's back and she's got her tattoo gun.
You gonna let her work on you?
Maybe
a little something.
I'm at that age where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get that job that's going to look at my tattoos and say, nope, we're not hiring today.
Are you talking face tattoo, Raghunath? Just
I may get the teardrop.
Why don't you get right across your forehead? The issue is never the issue.
Kastuba is the issue.
In consciousness.
What would you do if I got Kastuba tattoo on my forehead?
I would feel really bad for you. If you did that.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move on, Raghunath. Huh?
Moving on. Hare Krishna.
Question number 2. This is from
People are getting anything tattooed on them nowadays. They're just like, whatever. They're using their body like a doodling pad.
Let's focus, Raghunath. Let's bring it back.
I was focused on that. Okay. This is from Vayu, our good friend Vayu, the artist, the Australian. He's a nice devotee. We've met him a few times in Italy. He's come to Italy with us. That is why I like our little Wisdom of the Sages outings. They're almost like
to know
our outings, be it at Super Soul or at the GEV this year in Mayapur or in Italy. They're always sort of like, it's like a powwow. It's like a meetup group. You get to meet all these people that you've been talking to for a while online. So, I always saw his little picture face on Zoom, and I was like, oh, Vayu, interesting. Who's this guy? Wrote us some emails. Interesting. Who's this guy? Then you get to hang with the guy, and what a wonderful person.
Disciple Srila Prabhupada.
And a disciple Srila Prabhupada, I think.
Pretty
I
sure.
don't know.
I think so.
We don't know. Maybe. Anyway, here is Vayu's question. Hare Krishna Prabhus, I would like to ask about each of your takeaways from a lifelong practice of bhakti. From our lifelong practice?
Yeah.
It's been sort of life. You got into it when you were 21. I got into it when I was 22. It's a lot of our life. Including your relationship with each other. Oh, I can talk about that. In the latest Sage Group notes, it asks about our journey, including our hero moments when doubts, hardships, physical and mental, perhaps, were overwhelming, and you were able to turn around and leave them behind. It would be inspirational to hear from you, both of you. I truly believe that the podcast will go down in the annals of history as a point where bhakti changed the world as we know it. Aww.
Is that the annals of history? We got to get you off the bodily platform. Oh, no, he's gone. He's lost. Now he's being filmed by his son losing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Krishna.
All right.
You filmed that? Oh, all right. Churning filmed it. Okay, sorry.
All right.
I said it so confidently, Maris.
Why don't we get back to the question?
Okay.
Maybe read the question without reading the end again.
All right, Mar, you just read it, please.
I'll read it. So he wants to ask each of us about our take, drawing from our lifelong practice of bhakti. He wants to know about moments of doubts and hardship, maybe physical and mental hardship, feeling overwhelmed by it, and being able to turn it around and leave it behind. He wants to hear if we've had experiences like that, and he's kind of drawing from. He wants us to draw from those types of experience in our life in the bhakti context. Would you like to start, Raga?
Yeah. Thank you, Vayu.
Raga's trying to get real, like so. Yeah, too.
Trying to shake off the giggles. Well, I will say that I can think of two specific times. One, when I didn't make the hero cut when I just went into like certain factors were happening in my personal and spiritual life that I just couldn't cut it. And I retracted from the association and from the sadhana. And it was like 3 years of painful existence where I sort of I feel like I still was on a spiritual path in one sense, but not a regular Gaudiya Vaishnava sadhana bhakti path. And I still kept connections with teachers in my life. But at the same time, I just it was sort of like one of those things where like you have to step away, or you were forced to step away, or the circumstance came. But I will say that I grew from it all. And in retrospect, I see that I needed that. And then, of course, recently, I went through a divorce. It was like the biggest upheaval in my life. I almost lost my home. I didn't know or if I was going to work or what was going to happen with my kids. And I was like so upset by it all on a right down to like in my DNA. But the fact that we are reading the Bhagavatam every day in Wisdom of the Sages, chanting japa, showing up with each other, I will say that was a hero's moment where it's not like I didn't feel it. It was tragic on the outside, but inside I kept my hand on a banister or on a lifeline to hold me up. And I feel like that was a time where I got to just hold on and let it rain. And so that was probably the biggest and I feel like I'm just sort of coming out of it now. But that was sort of that was a hero moment in my bhakti. And the other was
something you can share about it, something that others could grow from, something lessons learned.
Well, my lesson was, I think, even in the time where I really struggled and turned away, I don't think, I'm not positive, but I wasn't really offensive. Like in my heart of hearts, I loved the devotees. I wasn't like, yeah, you guys are so dumb. That it's important that there will come a time, sadly, where a lot of us we're in high association and with a high sadhana, we're feeling very strong, but for some reason or other, we get out of it. Maybe we stop chanting, we stop reading, we stop hearing on a regular basis. It's really important not to be offensive, because the false ego wants to say, well, these guys are fanatical. I need to take it easy. It was too extreme. We give thousands of reasons to justify where we're at. But the real reason is, you know what? I just can't they're keeping a high bar and I can't jump that high.
They say the dark night of the soul, got your attention there.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the soul.
Was dark night.
But the dark night of the soul, it has the potential to kind of make you or break you. It kind of has the potential, like those moments in life. We should be able to identify, okay, I'm in that dark night right now. And we should know when we're in it that it has the potential to kind of really destroy a lot of the work we've done, or really set us off track for a long, long time. Or if one can kind of own it, it can become the catapult for dramatic spiritual progress.
Yeah.
And what you just said, I think that's really key. Is what's hard for a lot of people to do is to kind of say, the issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution of consciousness. Whatever issues I have here, that's not really the issue. And that's not gaslighting. It's called spiritual reflection and like depth. Where one says, you know what I'm saying? Let me own my own shortcomings. Otherwise, I don't grow. As long as
it's very hard to deal.
My fingers. Yeah, and they say in the dark night of the soul, the tendency is to want to drag down the one that you identify as your judge. So like if, for instance, within the bhakti community, if one feels like I can no longer maintain these standards, one way to respond is to say, it's just me and it's where I'm at right now. Or another way to say it is, you know what? All these people that are maintaining the standard, they're all hypocrites. Now I pull my judge down so I don't feel like I have a judge anymore.
And I knew I couldn't yeah, I knew I couldn't do that because my heart was touched and moved and inspired in so many
Too
deep
many
ways
good
by the
people.
devotees. There's too many good people in my life. And it's very easy to say, you know what, they're all crazy. I knew I couldn't say that, but I wasn't sure if I could measure up to their metric of a healthy evolutionary normal. So I did a lot of self-reflection. I did a lot of self-study. I did a lot of, I did a lot of journaling in those 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. And then I got to this
Did a
point
lot of
where
juicing.
I did a lot of juicing. When I say juicing, we don't mean what do they call juicing now? It's like when you take steroids. No, I did a lot of actual juicing, juice fasting. Yeah, I got into like physical health and cleanliness of body and stuff like that. But I understood that actually, unless you cleanse your mind, you're not healthy at all. And so anyway, it ended up bringing me back to Krishna, which is
Nice.
really what I wanted in my heart of hearts. I missed Krishna. And so, when you're reflecting on your life's journey, you realize like, you look back and say, I needed to go through that, as painful as it was. But going forward, we shouldn't be like, well, I got to go through this. No, you can, if you hold on tight. And I feel like thanks to you and Mara and the accountability of all the people listening on Zoom, there are others out there that listen to the show that I'll never meet, perhaps. But I don't see them, so they're not in my consciousness. But there's people, I'm looking at faces right now. We got Sarah Grahi, Aaron Erskine, Leslie Vente. These are people like, what's Leslie Vente going to think if I don't show up tomorrow morning? What's Sarah Grahi going to think? If I don't show up, there's accountability with an entire community. And I have to show up for them. And it makes me have to show up. And because of it, I'm taking shelter of wisdom literature that great, from paupers to kings, have taken shelter of when the world gets hectic. And I feel like this time it's really for these last few years, because really things started crumbling during the pandemic in my life too. I've had the Bhagavatam in my life, and there's one thing about saying, oh yeah, I have a set of Bhagavatams. I'm a devotee. There's another thing about saying, I'm a devotee of Lord Krishna, and I'm going to read and study and hear the Bhagavatam every day for an hour, or 2 hours or 3. There's another thing about making explicit commitments, and we encourage everybody. That's why we're doing this show in the first place. Here on a regular basis, that changes us. Yeah. Mr. K?
Yes, Raghunath.
Special
yes.
K? All right. The anals, Hare Krishna. Sorry about that. I never use that expression, the annals of history.
I'm waiting for the cue, Raghunath. You haven't given me the cue yet.
Okay, what do you think, Kastuba?
Thank you.
Well, you did talk a little bit already.
No, I didn't. I didn't even get started. I was just commenting on your glorious life.
What about you?
There are times in my life, the greatest challenges that I've faced in my life as a devotee, I can't really talk about them on this podcast because they all involve all these people that are still in my life, one way or another, or that are not too
just
far
say
removed. No, I can't go into detail.
How about just make up fake names?
They wouldn't work because the context, it would be obvious. But I'll say this: there are times.
Yeah,
I've had times where I've really felt entirely betrayed.
Ooh.
I felt like
Like me?
Well, I said it was people that I still know. No,
There was a time we got in a
you.
big argument
No.
once.
We never got in we just yelled at each other before, but we never like hated each other and like didn't talk to each other.
We never hit each other either.
No, we never did that. No, I felt extremely betrayed. And then not only that, but then the people that betray you, then they kind of turn against you and they're trying to pull the wool out. They're trying to like just screw. I've felt, and at times when the betrayal caused like circumstances that were so overwhelming that just wouldn't stop, where I was losing sleep, where probably my body was like shaking, I remember just, and this is where I'm going to go with this. And I remember like talking to Radha Swami, like practically my body was like shaking, it's like all day, every day. It was just like, it was like my whole nervous system was like falling apart.
Why'd you call me up? Why'd you
I
call me
talked
up?
to you about this stuff.
Baba Ganoush, I'll give you a little love.
So, and he shared with me certain perspectives, and as you're saying, they're Bhagavatam related perspectives, and now you know what? Even let's say they're Mahabharata related perspectives. I really learned from Radhanath Swami so much.
Yeah,
and if you just look at these sacred texts like Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, everything's laid out there. Then it shouldn't take us too long until we put ourselves, oh, I get it, I'm Indra in this story, you know. Like even we can maybe share a little bit more of what we've been reading Mahabharata, you know, like when Satyavati, when she's brought through meditation into the heavenly planets.
that was so. I was like, I'm imagining.
So cool?
I felt like it was a window into the heavenly planets.
Oh, it's so great. And she travels through the heavens, and she's seen so many beautiful sights, but when she actually lands,
there's war.
She lands in a place of war. It's on the beach of the Milk Ocean. And she's in the tent of Indra on the eve of battle. And then she witnesses the battle between the devas and the asuras, you know, between the demons and the devas, and it's a vicious battle. But the devas are winning. But when the devas are winning and the asuras are losing, the asuras they
resort to black magic.
We're getting all excited now. It's all real. They resort to black magic. They're making all kind of horrible like things appear. It's like, it's devastating. It's, you know, you imagine you're on the battlefield and you're winning, and then suddenly the entire army you're fighting disappears.
What?
Yeah,
You're
and
just
then
like chopping at nothing.
And then they all look up in the sky, and it's like a mountain is falling on them, and then like thousands of naked demonesses are like running at them with tridents, and it's like millions of them are running at them, and it's just like, and it's overwhelming, and it's like, we're just trying to do good, we're just trying to do our service, and look what we're going through, we're falling apart. And then
naked demonesses, did that put a pause on your thinking, like, wait a second, naked demonesses, were they like attractive or unattractive? You know, because they could be attractive. Demons could be attractive too. That would still catch me off guard. A bunch of naked,
it would be worse if they're unattractive. You know, it would be like scarier if they're unattractive.
I'm supposed to kill you, but you're attractive.
Go ahead, kill me. You're so attractive. No, so I'm picturing them being very unattractive, and pull yourself together. So, but what do the demigods do? They turn to the avatar. They look out into the ocean of milk, to the island of Swetadweep, to where Lord Vishnu lives, and then because and only because they were under such duress that they call out with such sincerity to Lord Vishnu.
Wait till they get to that point of such distress.
Yeah. They wait. Krishna waits until he increases the duress in our lives until we turn to him with complete sincerity.
That's our lesson. That's our lesson today. The whole show can end.
Well, we're going I'm going to try to back up that.
Okay. All right, go on.
So, and by the way, wait till that cinematic moment arises when Lord Vishnu on Garuda starts flying across the ocean of milk towards the battle.
God.
He holds out his hands to both the devas and the asuras. Right? And the devas, they bow to him, and some of the asuras are infuriated just by the sight of Vishnu. Kalanemi attacks him.
Kalanemi riding a lion.
And then Vishnu just he catches the trident.
Kalanemi throws a spear so hard. Kalanemi is big and powerful, and he just refuses to accept that. Oh, here comes Vishnu, the great peacekeeper, because Vishnu's impartial. He's like, hey, everybody, it's going to be cool. We're going to work this out. We're going to talk you through it.
No more black magic.
No more black magic. Let's get a dharmic war going on here. And then Kalanimi's like, I'm not having it. And he whips as hard as he can a spear.
First of all, you have to picture the most powerful warrior on the back of the most powerful lion that you've ever seen in your life with the most deadly looking spear.
Picture some type of, WWF wrestler riding a lion.
Do better than that.
With armor. Well, what do we
Okay.
got to work with here?
All
Picture like Hulk Hogan. Not Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hulk Hogan. Or the Incredible Hulk. One of the Hulks. One of the two Hulks. We got two Hulks. Hulk Hogan picture Hulk Hogan, but with hair.
The Rock.
Not bald. Picture The Rock. Picture The Rock riding a lion, an obedient lion, a furious lion, right? And he's carrying this divine weapon, and he whips it at Lord Vishnu so hard, everyone's like, Lord Vishnu's going to go down. He catches it. What does he do? He throws it back. He throws it back at him effortlessly, and it pierces both Kalanimi and the lion
and the ground
and the earth.
And then he dies there, like gritting his teeth, staring at Lord Vishnu.
Don't you always feel bad for the animal? That's like that poor animal. It's like he had to die.
That
too.
animal died in the presence of Lord Vishnu. I don't feel bad for it.
Okay, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And Mara, trivia question for Catherine A. Catherine A. Who did Kalanimi take birth as?
Oh, spoiler.
Okay, so Mara. Kamsa, yes.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Okay, so now let me continue with this, Ragnar.
Okay, go on.
That idea that the pressure that we're under in life is Krishna's special mercy, that we turn to him and pray with deeper sincerity. That's key. And not only that, the idea that Raghunath, over here, eyes right over here. There you go.
David Housewood posted
I see, Raghunath. But I'm not getting distracted.
It looks just like Kalanimi.
Okay, right over here.
All right, go on.
There you go. The churning of the ocean of milk. One of our first podcasts was Radhanath Swami speaking on the churning of the ocean of milk.
Yeah, that was great.
The lessons from that. What the Devas had to do. They had to cooperate with the worst people. They had to cooperate with their enemies. They had to cooperate with the last people in the world they wanted to cooperate with in order to serve Lord Vishnu.
I see where you're going with this.
They had to cooperate with them. Then they had to deal with all, you're pulling on the snake, and the snake is like vomiting all kind of fire and everything. Tolerate it.
Snakes.
Then you're struggling to churn this thing, and it's not working. It seems like all of your efforts are going to nothing. Oh, the Devas, it's just so hard, right? When they finally, after struggling so hard for so long and trying to cooperate with these horrible demons and trying to churn against all odds, and then finally something starts to come out, it's working, it's churning, something's coming out, it's poison.
Poison comes out.
It's
like churning butter. It's exhausting. Right?
But only after that. You have to keep going. This is the way that Vishnu or Krishna deals with his devotees, that we go through this, that we go through these really trying, terribly disappointing, terribly upsetting circumstances. And we're meant to learn. You know what we're meant to learn, Raghunath? That the issue is never the issue.
The issue is not the issue. The issue is the revolution of consciousness.
Exactly. That all of this,
you're pushing hard. You're pushing hard for this new postulate. I'm going to have to bring it to the board, the Wisdom of the Sages board, because Stuba's presenting the bill.
He wants to claim number 9 for this postulate, and I don't know if we can give him 9.
Okay, keep going.
So what have I gained through these things? I hope what I've gained is a clear perspective, the ability to zoom out, the ability to see myself in the difficult circumstances, in the context of the Bhagavatam, or in the context of Mahabharata, and understand that of course, things are going to become very difficult in this world.
Mhm.
That's to be expected. That's a given, right? Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't.
Mhm.
This is where you see what's the message to Indra. Don't become overwhelmed by this. Keep going. Keep going. There's something. And I remember my sharing my story of woe
Your
with
story
you
of
were
the
there. You
story of
probably don't even
woe.
remember. You
The
probably don't
story
even
of woe.
remember, Raghunath. But we were sitting at the picnic table in the back of Pumpkin Hollow.
Oh, when you were crying on my shoulder, and I was putting my arm around you, and I was
No,
comforting you, wiping the
not
tears
at
from
all.
your eyes.
No, it was nothing like that.
That time, you said, "I love you so much. You
No,
mean so much to me." That time.
no. I don't remember that. But
And
I remember.
I fed you some apple pie. Put a
But I
fork in your
remember
mouth.
there's a few of us, and Radha Swami there, and I was apologizing to Radha Swami. I was saying, Radha Swami, I'm sorry to just kind of bring you my story of woe. And he was just like, he spoke with the realization, with the clear realization. It was so obvious, it was so clear that this man, whatever little thing, whatever my overwhelming thing over here is so small compared to the challenges that he's faced, compared to the betrayal he's faced, compared to, it's nothing.
Right.
So and so I'm apologizing. I'm saying, Marj, forgive me for even bringing this stuff up. I feel like a fool even bringing this kind of stuff up. And he just was such soft-hearted compassion, saying, no, Kastuba, this is how Krishna works in our lives. This is how it works. And the day's going to come, when we'll together, together we'll sit back and we'll look back on this and we'll remember how hard it was in those times. Remember how difficult before, the circumstances that were, from the good circumstances, we'll look back at those circumstances. And another thing that I've kind of recognized is that our life will be a series of these things. The utopia doesn't come in this world. You work hard to create the best utopian circumstances you can create.
Right. I like that.
But the utopia never comes, get used to that. The service never ends, the sacrifice doesn't end. You keep sacrificing, and Krishna will bring us to that. He'll purify us through that. So, it's that kind of thing. It's really, I'll share this.
Well, don't leave some time for the other part of the question, which was, I'd like to ask about each of you, your takeaways from your long practice of bhakti, including with your relationship with each other. Don't forget that.
Well, I'm doing that right now. I'm sharing, like you were there.
You and me. That's,
Oh,
I was there witnessing your issue.
Oh, in other words,
you've been there witnessing my. What about us? You and me, heart to heart.
In other words, what have I gained through all the torture that you put me through in my life?
I bring in you laughter and fun and spontaneity.
We're going to need more than these last 5 minutes to cover that. No, but I will say this, and this is key. So much of how bhakti is transferred, it's a heart-to-heart transfer, and it comes in the association of the Vaishnavas, and it's really important that we seek out deep Vaishnavas, Vaishnavas that we can say, you know what, that person, the depth of their understanding, the depth of their sacrifice, the depth of their sincerity, it's way beyond my experience, my sacrifice, let me, and then in that approach, you approach with humility, you approach with clearly understanding that so much can be gained when those ingredients are there, right? Deeper Vaishnava, junior Vaishnava, approaching with humility, so much can be transferred, and seeing the example of a devotee like that, without it, Raghunath, I think I would have run off bitter, again and again. I really do. I think unless I had someone to say, oh my God, their challenge, their sacrifice is way beyond mine.
Yeah.
I would have rationalized my own bitterness, and it would have been so costly for my own spiritual life.
We're glad you're okay.
Thank you, Raghunath. It's all because of you.
That was a good show. I think I lose like 3 pounds of water weight during each show. I sweat like a chimp.
Are you good? Back to your body. We don't want to hear about you're blowing your nose, you're burping, you're sweating. None of these things interest us, Raghunath.
Napping.
Okay.
I think it's important to laugh in the morning. I think it's very healthy for your spiritual life. I'm surprised it's not written in Vedic scriptures anywhere. Like, take some time and laugh. Laughing yoga.
Hasya ras is important.
Hasya ras. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Saturday. No show tomorrow. Back at 6 a.m. on Monday. Remember, wisdomofthesages.com has our info because it's last call. When we say last call, it's last call for our India wisdom training, which is happening. Get away from this cold and come to India with us for 2 weeks, or spend longer, come to Mayapur with us, or do our 300-hour training, which starts January 3rd, or do our Kirtan Academy training. Looking forward to having you guys there, and I'm excited that I put out an email blast, and a bunch of people wrote. It's gonna, we always get into these points of like, there's very limited spaces. So if you're interested, get off that fence right now. I'm here to say, I think you got to get off the fence, and it's really a game changer for the entire year. If you're not on my mailing list, get on my mailing list. Raghunath.yoga. Do it right now. And also make sure you follow Wisdom of the Sages on Instagram and Stupidas and Miss Simons Jones and at Raghunath the Yogi. Mara, how's the Shravanam scarves doing?